What's up, everybody? Here we go. It is a Monday morning. It is a glorious Monday morning after another excellent weekend of college and NFL football. Week 2 of NFL, week 3 of college football. Upsets, disasters. Oh my goodness. We had a bunch of it. We had a lot of it. So, watching last night, this is a little bit different. We're going to more talk about how things play out. Watching last night, Chris Collinsworth has always been one of the guys that I don't mind his commentating, but I really do wish he would be more accurate with what he says and stop trying to protect players, teams, etc. So last night during the broadcast, Chris Collinsworth said that the Vikings had passed on Sam Darnold Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and the reality is they didn't really pass on any one of those except Rodgers. And let's be very clear. I think passing on Rodgers was a fantastic idea. It was a 1 year hit opportunity. If you're bad with JJ McCarthy, this team is signed long term. You can then draft your next quarterback in the upcoming draft. End of the game, they're showing the clips of Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. He's like, you just wonder how long these guys are going to be okay with what's going on. I'm like, they went 15-1 last year. They played at an ultra high level last year. The defense is still outstanding. But the reality is they got outbid on Darnold. They got outbid on Jones. They don't have a huge amount of cap space. Any trade they make would really have to have the other team eat a lot of the salary cap. And after 2 games, you are now 1-1 if you're the Vikings. And I don't know why the stories can come out. Like, we all know the Vikings inside the building didn't really trust JJ McCarthy. So why do you have to lie when you're commentating like they put all their chips in, they really trust this kid? No, they don't. They haven't trusted him all offseason. He doesn't look good. The way that game played out last night, 2 things are very apparent. Number 1, the Falcons wanted to take a lot of pressure off of Penix. Bijan had a huge rushing game. They want to take a lot of pressure off of Penix. Number 2, the Falcons' defense is going to improve dramatically. Jalen Walker, James Pierce, Harrison, Floyd. I watched last night's game very hopeful. Very, very hopeful. Because of the way it played out. Because of the way the Falcons... John Parker Romo. He is going to be one of the hottest waiver wire pickups for a kicker ever. Him and Brandon Audrey probably single-handedly had the most waiver wire pickups as a kicker in history. Huge game last night from him. Great kicks, too. I mean, Koo is definitely out. Romo is in. And I love it. We got another Romo in the NFL. So I think what was very clear is how everything played out yesterday. Falcons understand the weapons may not be there outside of Bijan, Drake, and Kyle, because Mooney and Ray is definitely a toss-up. London and Kyle, those are the ones that he wants to go to. He does trust Mooney, but you don't really have a Brock Bowers. You don't have a Malik Neighbors. You don't have a Brian Thomas, which Thomas had a bad day yesterday. And, sometimes it happens. I am not going to flip out over it whatsoever. But the reality is the Vikings are in trouble. Of 8 quarters that J.J. McCarthy has started, 7 of them have been really bad. 1 of them has been good. It's just reality here. They didn't like how things were looking in the offseason. Because of that, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Now, I love the Vikings organization, and I love their roster. That doesn't mean anything if the quarterback can't do what he needs to do to help you to win. All right. So, now that we're past Sunday Night Football, what happened yesterday? Huge. The Colts and the Cowboys won their games yesterday with a little bit of hope and a whole heck of a lot of prayer. Wow. The Indianapolis Colts Bronco game. I watched the entire game, and remember how I said sometimes you need a little bit of luck. The Kansas City Chiefs had it last year. They ain't got it this year. The Broncos again get burned by a field goal. And then the Colts, Shane Steichen, rightfully so, is facing a lot of criticism for how he handled that last drive. And rightfully so. That right there, Schrader could have kicked the 60. And the kick was fine. It was just off to the right. But the reality is, how you handle that to set up a 60-yard field goal when you could get a 50 or less, really dumb, really stupid, and really bad coaching again. He was saved by a penalty that I don't believe was a penalty at all. When Luke Rhodes goes down, Denver's player, if somebody goes at your knees, you automatically go down and put your hands on top of them. We do this when our kids try to take us out at the waist. We all go, and we go down and hold them down. Trying to protect things. NFL players, they get hit in the shins, they drop down, and their hands go down. It's kind of natural. There was zero penalty on that kick. Zero penalty. So they got a freebie, 15 yards. They need to change that. That was not a personal foul. They need to change that to a penalty that's only 5 yards. That is not a personal foul. There is nothing personal foul-esque about that play whatsoever. Nothing. Especially if they called leverage. If you're calling leverage needs to be 5 yards. Now, I am ecstatic the Colts won, but I want to win right. I don't like winning with controversy or losing with controversy. And that game was too great of a game to end on a penalty gifted field goal. The Broncos won the game. The Colts lucked out and got the W in the win column. Broncos were definitely better. Broncos came in on the road, controlled the game. There was only one mistake by Nix all day long. The overthrow, which he short-armed it. It was like shot put because he moved his arm forward and back really quick. And the ball just sailed on him. But Broncos are legit. I got to find out about the Colts. 2 games at home. Got gifted this one. Next week we're on the road. See how everything plays out next week. All right, the Cowboys. A thrilling game. 40-37 in overtime. And not just overtime. To close out overtime. The Giants and the Cowboys are 2 evenly matched teams in skill and player makeup. There's really not a lot of gap between these 2 teams, which means the Cowboys absolutely suck and the Giants aren't much worse than that. They just suck. They don't really suck. They just suck. The Giants played an outstanding game. They played hard. had a chance to win it. Again, Brandon Aubrey, field goal kickers matter. If you don't think field goal kickers matter, you did not watch any of this weekend. The Commanders have Matt Gay, who missed 2 of 3 field goals. The Falcons sign a new kicker. On Tuesday, they got tryouts. Sign a new kicker. He goes 5 for 5. The Cowboys win because Brandon Aubrey has an outstanding leg. The Colts win, and their field goal kicker on the books is still perfect because of that penalty. You have to have a field goal kicker. The Patriots right now have a kicker that's missing extra points. Now, what does Vrabel do with that? He's a rookie. What he does with that, I don't know. I don't know. But kickers matter. They matter a lot. So, the Giants go in and they just can't close the deal. That's the issue. They just can't close out the deal. Why? I don't know. They just couldn't. Russell Wilson probably had the last great game of his career. Malik Neighbors is a stud. What a day for Malik Neighbors. The personal foul penalty on the Giants offensive lineman for absolutely head slapping the crap out of the Dallas Cowboy defensive end. Oh my gosh. I was dying laughing. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I had We Are Marshall in my head the entire time. I had it. I go, just head slap the crap out of him. I mean, it was, he wound up and swung that big mitt, got straight in the helmet. I know it was a penalty, but doggone it. That's just one of those things, like, that needs to go on some sort of reel where it goes, doing, like, oh, wow. It didn't help. It was a 15-yard penalty. But, you know, I mean, come on. You don't see somebody try to head slap somebody else that often. So, those two games were like that. But 2 other games I want to look at real fast are the games where the backup quarterbacks shine. Now, we've already got some news. It broke this morning, so I'm going to do that here in a second. Let's go the Niners and the Saints. I thought the Saints really had a chance to win this game because of how everything was, because of the way that things would play out. I thought they really had a shot at this game. The reality is, I don't know if the Saints can do any. Their defense is awful. Their defense is bad. Mac Jones, 26 of 39 for the Niners, 279 through the air, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. Christian McCaffrey still hasn't run the ball great. 13 carries, 55 yards. He did add 52 yards receiving and a receiving touchdown through the air. Juwan Jennings had a big game, caught 50% of the targets. Targeted 10 times, caught 5 balls, 89 yards, and a touchdown. Mac Jones did also lose a fumble. Alvin Kamara lost a fumble. And really the Saints just, I feel bad for Kellen Moore. I really do. But this is what you get. Spencer Rattler's your quarterback. And he didn't play horrible. 25 of 34, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. It wasn't like he was horrible. And congratulations to the Niners that got another W. There you go. So, 26-21, the Niners over the New Orleans Saints. Now, a game that was absolutely wild. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jaguars had this game gifted to them. I do want to be clear. This game was gifted to them. Their defense played outstanding. The offense wasn't bad. Brian Thomas was targeted 12 times. He did have a lot of drops, but he still caught 4 catches for 49 yards. It was just, he was having an off day. We all get him. I think he was rushing. And I honestly think he was competing with Ja'Marr Chase. And here's why I say that. Ja'Marr Chase goes out there and has 14 receptions on 16 targets for 165 yards. If that's what Brian Thomas is trying to get to, I think he pushed a little bit too much. I think he was trying too hard to be a Ja'Marr Chase when all he's got to be is a Brian Thomas. Trevor Lawrence, 24-42, 271, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. As a team, Jaguars ran the ball 27 times for 139 yards. But Jake Browning, who has been in this position before, Joe Burrow was 7 of 13. He wasn't like he was lighting it up through the air. 7 of 13, 76 yards, 1 touchdown, had been sacked twice. Jake Browning came in 21 of 32, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, sacked once. Jake Browning and Mac Jones get their team's W. Jake Browning leads a game-winning touchdown drive for the Cincinnati Bengals to knock off the Jacksonville Jaguars. Huge win for them. Huge win. But we now have news. The injury to Joe Burrow, the toe injury, he needs surgery for the turf toe. He is out a minimum of 3 months. So let's just go from September 15th, October 15th, November 15th, December 15th. 3 months doesn't bring him back until December. Listen, he's been paid a lot of money. But this is another year where his injuries are going to affect the team. He is one of the most skilled pocket quarterbacks. He is the best pocket quarterback currently in the NFL. From the pocket, Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL. But he's been injured a lot. So now, and because I play fantasy, like Burrow's been on the block a couple of times. This hurts. This really hurts. I don't know what the Bengals are going to do. I don't know. This team, Jake Browning came back. The Jaguars flummoxed it away. Their defense had been given the lead, and the defense just lets the Bengals go down the field and score. I don't know what this is going to do for Cincinnati. You spent all that money. Now, okay, here we go. Now, you start losing. You need to get rid of people. You need to get rid of Trey Hendrickson. You need to trade your tradable pieces at the deadline and get picks. Hendrickson ain't signing back with you. Are you kidding me? He's not going to do it. Trade him. At the deadline, he'll be worth more. Trade him. You have to look at the future if you're Cincinnati. T. Higgins, to his credit, 2 weeks, still healthy, looking good. Jake Browning, the Bengals had no running game. Chase Brown, 16 carries, 47 yards. And as a team, they had 17 carries for 48 yards. Like, the rushing game is 0. So basically, get Chase and Higgins covered. Don't worry about what Jake Browning can do. Cover Chase, cover Higgins, make Browning throw the football into tight windows, make the Bengals run, and beat them. 3 months. It's a long, long time. This opens the door for a bunch of other teams in the AFC. Yeah, I know Browning won the game. We saw this last year. He's decent. He's not great. He's a very good backup quarterback. He can go 2-2 if Burrow were to be out for 4 games. Can he go 500 if he's out for 10? 12? Next week, the Bengals go to the Vikings. That defense, I've already got it. I'm picking Vikings. Even with how bad the Vikings have been offensively, I'm picking the Vikings. Then they're at the Broncos, Lions, at the Packers, Steelers, Jets, Bears, at the Steelers, Patriots, at the Ravens, at the Bills. The game, if it's exactly 3 months that Burrow would be back for, would be week 15, their second showdown with the Ravens. And I'm sorry, I look at that schedule and I don't see a way for Browning to potentially go 6-6. I don't. You're not beating the Lions. You're not beating the Broncos. You're not beating the Packers. You're definitely not beating the Ravens or the Bills. And I'm sorry, the Patriots yesterday, Dolphins were trying. The Patriots missed kicks. Without the missed kicks, the Dolphins don't even have a shot. Like, the Patriots by November are going to be ready to play high-level football. I don't see how this works out for them. I really don't. This opens up the rest of the AFC for one of those wild card spots. Most had the Bengals in. I did not. But you take out a playoff team and you give a playoff team another high pick. This is going to be top 15, 12. This is going to be a higher pick so they can get an offensive lineman if they decide to draft correctly. But the backup quarterbacks absolutely reigned supreme yesterday, and congratulations to Mac Jones and Jake Browning. But Burrow being out for 3 months, I think that really hurts. I think that really, really hurts. All right, here we go. 10,000-foot view of sports. And we are ready for everything that is coming down the pike when it comes to this. Gotta absolutely love how all this plays out. So, of course, we're going to talk baseball, and we're going to talk WNBA as well. I want to open up with the WNBA. Day 1 of the WNBA playoffs. The teams that were expected to win did win. The Minnesota Lynx played the Golden State Valkyries, and the Valkyries tried. They came out, they outscored the Lynx 28-21 in the first quarter, but then they got outscored 26-12 in the second, 32-18 in the third, and 22-14 in the fourth, en route to a 101-72 victory by the Minnesota Lynx. Now, these series, okay, they're 1-1-1, okay, potentially 1-1-1. So the next game is in Golden State. It's the first one to win 2. It's the best of 3. First one to win 2. It's in Golden State. So these games do go back and forth a little bit more. Now, the next game was the Indiana Fever against the Atlanta Dream. This game looked a little bit different. So the Fever outscored the Dream 21-18 in the first quarter. but then get outscored 22-12 in the second. So heading into half, they're down by 7. They get a 2-point advantage in the third quarter, so they're only down by 5 heading into the fourth. But the Dream, like a team that's a higher ranked team, Fever have the injuries. Dream shouldn't struggle too much. The Dream get the W, 80-68. That is exactly how the series probably is going to play out. They come back to Indiana tomorrow. I got the Fever winning tomorrow because I think being at home, I don't think they're going to get swept with this one. The Dream are a really good team. The Fever have injuries, and that's just kind of how it is. All right, so let's switch. Let's go to the nightcap. The Las Vegas Aces won again. Again. They outscored the Seattle Storm 22-12 in the first, 23-13 in the second, 31-27 in the third. There were a lot of points in that third quarter. And then 26-25 in the fourth, en route to a 102-77 thumping of the Seattle Storm. This series, I do believe, is over. I believe what the Las Vegas Aces have is something that is very special. They look the part. It looks special, unique. It's unique in sports in general, not just WNBA. To win this many games in a row and now continue into the playoffs is special. It's that simple. It's special. All right. The next game. The game that went to overtime with last year's champion, the Liberty, against the Phoenix Mercury. What a game. What a game. And anybody that watched it is going to be like, well, that fourth quarter was pretty sad. Yeah, it was. You're fine. These teams played hard. This looked like a playoff game. First quarter, the New York Liberty get the score advantage 17-13. Second quarter, the Mercury have the advantage 30-27. So the Liberty have a 1-point lead at halftime. Third quarter, Mercury have a 3-point advantage, 14-11, which means they are then up by 2. And in the fourth quarter, it was 10 points for the Liberty, 8 points for the Mercury. These two teams are the most evenly matched there is. They play so hard. They play so well. It's hard. It's rough. These guys are going into double teams. I mean, the defense in this game was really impressive. So you're tied at the end of 4, and then in the overtime period, the Liberty, like a championship team, score 11, only allow 4, and they get the W 76-69. Big game. Winning in Phoenix. Now the Liberty come home. They could close out the series at home. That takes place on Wednesday. Well, we'll have to see what happens. But awesome game. And I am absolutely looking forward to watching game number 2. All right. So, baseball. I told you everything could switch after the weekend series because of who was playing who and how they were playing them and everything else. Well, the good news for Red Sox fans is you didn't get swept by the Yankees. That was going to go bad. That was going to go bad. So after this weekend, we're just going to look at the playoffs because we got more football to talk. So we're just going to look at what ended up happening with the divisions over the weekend. So the Blue Jays, who have now won 4 in a row, are now 4 games up on the Yankees and 5.5 up on the Red Sox. That division looks like it's the Blue Jays to lose at this point. In the Central, this is getting interesting. The Tigers are now 6.5 above Cleveland. The Guardians in the last 10 games have gone 9-1. They've won 4 in a row. The Tigers are 500. They're 5-5. And on top of that, the Tigers and the Guardians have a series this week. Could it be that the Guardians sweep the Tigers and are only 3.5 back heading into this weekend? Or could the Tigers sweep the Guardians and kick the Guardians out of the playoff consideration? The AL West is wild. The Athletics are once again 4th, not 5th. They've gone 6-4, and they've won 4 in a row, which really hurt the Reds because they swept the Reds. The Mariners now hold the top spot. They've won 9 in a row. They are 9-1 in their last 10. 9 in a row. The Astros have gone 4-6 in that same time frame. The Rangers have gone 7-3. The Astros are 1 game back of the Mariners. And then the Astros are only 2 games in front of the Texas Rangers. The Rangers are coming. Do not count them out. Do not count them out. Before we go to the National League, let's look at the wild card standings as a whole. If you're Red Sox fans, I'm not feeling great about my position. Because I am only 1 game in front of the Astros for being swip-swapped to last place for the wild card compared to 5th place. And then the Rangers are only 2 games back, and the Guardians are only 2.5 back. The Royals on down are out. Royals are 6, Rays are 7.5. The Athletics, hey, people gave up on this team. The Athletics are 70-80. I know, some of you are wondering why I get so excited about the Athletics. Dude, this is a team that's playing in Sacramento that doesn't have a huge following. The city treated them like garbage. The Coliseum is falling apart. That's why the Raiders left. Now they're leaving. They're going to Vegas as well. They don't have that big of a stadium. This team, though, continues to fight. They only have a -70 run differential. If you remember, early in the year, they had a -120. This team has come together. I'm not worried about what the final thing is. If they lost the rest of the games, they would be 70-92. And they will not even be close to the worst team in Major League Baseball. They're not going to lose the rest of the games. They're currently 70-80. They are now sitting at the 5th worst. I'll say 5th worst because they're right behind the Rays. They are above the Orioles, Angels, Twins, and White Sox. So huge prop to the Athletics. This may be the only podcast that they get any love. That's fine. That's fine. I love the fact that those guys are playing as hard as they are. Absolutely love it. But back to the wild card. Yankees 2.5 in front for the 4th spot. Red Sox a game in front for the 5th. Astros hold the 6th spot right now. And then Rangers are 2 back. Guardians are 2.5 back. All right. So now we look at the National League. In the last 10 games, the National League East has really switched around. And by that I mean simply this. The Phillies have gone 8-2 in their last 10, swept the Mets. The Mets have gone 2-8. The Mets are in a lot of trouble. They're in a lot of trouble. They avoided getting swept again with the victory yesterday. Good for them, because if they got swept, this week would have been really dicey if they would have been in the wild card lead tomorrow. Really dicey. The Phillies have a 12-game lead. They have officially clinched the postseason. They are in the playoffs. They've won their division, etc. The Milwaukee Brewers in the Central have clinched a playoff berth. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But so are the Cubs. Cubs are also 5-5. They shouldn't have been. They've lost a bunch of games they should win. Neither here nor there. But they're 5.5 back. So the Cubs are currently sitting in the number 1 spot in the wild card. While the National League West, the Padres and Dodgers seemingly just want to keep this 2.5 game separation. That's what I'm thinking. The Padres may just want to keep this. I don't know why, but I think they want to keep this. And it works. It works. But when you look at the wild card now, boy, this gets really interesting because there's a team that showed up, and I don't get it. They traded everybody away, and they're now sitting 2 games back of the wild card. The New York Mets are sitting in 6th right now. They're sitting in 6th. They're 5 games behind the Padres, so nobody's catching the Padres unless they collapse. Cubs are 8.5 in front of that final wild card spot. Nobody's catching them. The Giants are a game and a half back. The Reds are 2.5 back. But there's this team, I don't know how, that's sandwiched between the Giants and Reds that are 2 games back of the final wild card spot. The Arizona Diamondbacks somehow are only 2 games back in the wild card. I don't know how. I don't know how. Now, I did this yesterday. I did this last night. I was looking at it. This is a really big week. Listen to the matchups. I told you about the Guardians and the Tigers. Guess what other matchups we got this week? Padres at the Mets. Then you've got the Rangers at the Astros. The Giants at the Diamondbacks. So, the NL West holds a lot of firepower. We know this. Oh, yeah, and also, the Phillies do also play the Dodgers this week. But both of them are already basically in the playoffs. So, and whatever. But these series, Guardians, Tigers, Padres, Mets, Rangers, Astros, Giants, Diamondbacks, every single one of those have wild card implications on them. Every single one of them. And looking ahead to the weekend, looking ahead to this weekend, San Francisco plays the Dodgers again. And this weekend is mostly what we would call cupcake games, except for the Phillies play Arizona. So if the Reds, which play the Cardinals, and then they play the Cubs this weekend, if they can be sitting there, they could just be fighting. The Mets do have the Nationals this weekend, the weekend series. It is the Nationals. So there is that. And September 28th. So here's what Tuesday, September 30th. Tuesday, September 30th is the first day of the playoffs. September 28th, 2 weeks from yesterday. That's all we've got left of the baseball season before the playoffs. This is a big week. This is a really big week. Tuesday next week. So this is a preview. The Red Sox are at the Blue Jays. The Mets are at the Cubs. The Dodgers are at Arizona. The Brewers play San Diego. That's big for San Diego more than it is Milwaukee because Milwaukee's already in. And then on top of that, Detroit plays Cleveland again next week. Don't count Cleveland out. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. All right. We got another thing to get to here. College football weekend. We'll go over some of the games here in a second. One of my favorite Carolina Panther players, Deshaun Foster. I actually had his rookie card out of UCLA. Gets fired after the UCLA Bruins start the season 0-3, and it wasn't good. Utah smashed them. Utah looks like they're the they're the king of the Big 12 right now. They're looking good. Big matchup this weekend. Big matchup this coming weekend in the Big 12. They lost to Utah, which was but then UNLV got them 30-23. But then New Mexico crushed them 35-10. And I do appreciate the athletic director not just being we appreciate him for his time, what he's done has been valuable to the school and to the administration and blah, blah, blah. No. He said, we put Deshaun Foster in a bad position. And I respect that highly because, and he laid it out, we had just moved to the Big Ten. He did not have the support behind him or the infrastructure to really be able to compete. And it wasn't fair to him. Now, he got fired. But the reality is, he loses. Eric Bieniemy left because that was the whole deal. He was going to leave and go. And I think Bieniemy had something going. And it proves that head coaches aren't the only ones that are important in college. You need coordinators too. Let's be honest. Look at the Colorado Buffaloes. Deion Sanders is a very, he is an above average head coach. But his coordinator picks haven't really been great. They're not great coordinator picks. So UCLA, I hope Deshaun Foster gets another job with a MAC team, a Sun Belt team, gets to go to a job where he can just coach, where he can just instill his knowledge into young men. I hope he gets that opportunity. Virginia Tech, this one kind of saddens me. Because I remember I was around for the Frank Beamer years. I remember that stadium bouncing on those Thursday nights. I remember the huge games in Hokie Stadium. Huge games. I would love the opportunity to be Virginia Tech's head coach. Hokie Nation deserves an outstanding team again. Virginia Tech, just the way that Beamer recruited, the way they played football, you love to watch. Because you watched it for the defense, for the special teams. You watched it for the little things. And Virginia Tech now is just, it's just not what it was. They lose to Old Dominion at home. That's not okay. So Brent Pry has been fired by Virginia Tech. Now, before all that took place, there were some great games. Great games. Texas A&M gets the W over Notre Dame. And I picked it. I went 2-1. I almost went gosh darn 3-1. But the dang kicker, the gosh darn kicker for Tennessee ruined my hopes and dreams. But A&M gets the big W, 41-40. Big win. Big win for Texas A&M. Now they are 3-0. And they just put the rest of the SEC on notice going, we're not lying down. Texas A&M Don't sleep on a team like this. They could make the playoff. You could sleep on Notre Dame, though. They got 2 losses, both against ranked opponents. How in the world, if they go 10-2, if they win out, how do you? I don't get it. I can't put them in the playoff at 10-2 with that schedule that they've got left, losing their only 2 ranked games. What? No way. Now, if Boise State's ranked and they beat Boise State, they'll use that, blah, blah, blah. Notre Dame, you better come out with your hair on fire and just start whooping up on teams. You got to. Miami did knock off the Bulls, and they looked good while doing it, 49-12. Miami is now, I believe, the top dog in the ACC because Clemson, I called it. I said, look out for Georgia Tech. Clemson doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a team that has all that experience. They've got all these seniors, and the team is failing. They are now 1-2 after Georgia Tech kicks a field goal to win the game. Absolutely huge, 24-21. 24-21. And it wasn't just a little field goal. He hit a 55-yard field goal. 55-yard field goal to upset Clemson. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets controlled most of the game. They are now 3-0, 1-0 in the ACC. Florida State's sitting there. Miami's sitting there. We know the Virginia Tech Hokies aren't going to do anything. I mean, wow. And then you had Georgia knocking off Tennessee. Tennessee has the shot, win it. Then they missed. That first play by the Bulldogs, I called the game after that because that first run in overtime for the Bulldogs was just, all they did was ran a counter. And the Volunteer defense had no lane integrity, and they just broke it for a big run and then won the game. If they would have hit the field goal, I would have been 3-0 in those picks. If Will Lutz would have hit the field goal for the Broncos, I'd be perfect in Hawks picks this week. My only losses are the Volunteers, missed field goal, and the Broncos, missed field goal. Those are my only losses. I got the Patriots right. I got the Eagles right. I got the Falcons right last night. I got Miami right. I got Texas A&M right. And I got the Texans and Raiders tonight. So last week I was 3-5. Can we swap it around this week? Can we switch it around? Maybe just slightly. Could we go 6-3 this week? Right now I got 5. Can we go 6-3? Could we go 7-2 if the Texans and Raiders win tonight? That'd be freaking awesome. That'd be freaking awesome. All right. So let's close this out. Basketball season is actually not that far away. There's only 33 days until my fantasy basketball draft. The fantasy basketball draft. And we're, it's only a little over 4 weeks away. And I saw the ad for NBC last night, and it slightly made me excited because I want NBC back. I want the music back. I want the feel. Inside the NBA, we'll see what happens, obviously. But, the reality is it's great. Basketball will be back. NFL absolutely dominating right now. The Eagles got the big win over the Chiefs. Let's recap some of the rest of let's just recap the weekend here real fast before we close everything out. So the Packers open on Thursday night with a 27-18 victory over the Washington Commanders. The Rams get a big road victory over the Titans. Cam Ward was sacked 5 more times. Don't get anything wrong when it comes to this team. Cam Ward was sacked 6 times last week, 5 times yesterday. He's been sacked 11 times in 2 games. He was 8 of 11 to start the game. He finished 19 of 33. They started taking bigger shots, bigger risks. The reality is, don't sleep on this team. Okay? Do not sleep on this team. Defensively, they do need to clean up a couple of things. But I do like the future of the Tennessee Titans. Remember, the Colts went 3-13 Peyton Manning's first year. People often, the Tennessee Titans had cleared out so much. They needed to sign a bunch of free agents on the offensive line. They really still need, I believe, to kind of get that wide receiver core done. I do like their draft picks. Van Jefferson is whatever. Tyler Lockett, I said, was there for his leadership, and he's a slot guy. Cam Ward makes some plays that you just go, wow. So the Rams win 33-19. Bengals, like we said, win 31-27 over the Jaguars. The Ravens crush the Browns 41-17. The Bills annihilate the Jets 30-10. Patriots get a really close victory 33-27 over the Miami Dolphins. The 49ers go to New Orleans, get their W 26-21. The Cowboys beat the Giants in overtime 40-37. The Lions put up a huge show. I watched that game here at home. That was the main game on. And it was fun to watch. An absolute show on offense. And credit to Kelvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator for the Lions. The defense looked much better this week. The secondary especially. They don't have a pass rush, which is going to be a problem, but the secondary looked much better. They win over the Bears 52-21. Seahawks go to Pittsburgh. Boom. Should have put that in my lock. Should have put that in my picks. They beat the Steelers 31-17. Colts get the narrow victory over the Broncos 29-28. The Cardinals are playing very sloppy. Very sloppy, especially in the second half. But they get another W, 27-22 over Carolina. The Eagles beat the Chiefs 20-17. And the Falcons knocked off the Vikings 22-6 behind John Parker Romo's 5 field goals last night. And since I opened, let me close with it. This was the numbers. These were the numbers for McCarthy. 11-21, 158 yards, 2 interceptions. Here's the big one. 6 sacks. 6 sacks. Minnesota is now without some offensive linemen. I don't think that matters against the Bengals as much as it does the rest. When you look at the Falcons, though, Penix 13-21. He did throw the ball away 3 times that I watched. So 13 of 18 for actual incompletions. 135 yards. He was sacked 3 times. But it was about the ground game. 22 carries, 143 yards for Bijan Robinson. Drake London, 3 catches. Kyle Pitts, 4 catches. Robinson, 3 catches. He spreads the ball around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different receivers and only 13 completions. I like it. I'll take it. I will absolutely take it. Falcons, I think, are still working themselves in, but the defense looked much better last night. 6 sacks. Zach Harrison and Brandon Dorlus, both with a sack and a half each. Jalen Walker gets a sack. Leonard Floyd gets a sack. And then James Pierce Jr. got half a sack. I still like the Falcons. All right. You guys know my picks for tonight. I got the Raiders. I got the Texans. Raiders at home, Texans at home. I'm going home teams tonight. Texans, I feel like, are going to have that big week like the Lions did. I think they're going to come out. They're going to attack. I think that defense will be after Baker Mayfield quick. I think they're going to be all over Baker Mayfield fast. early on. We'll go over the fantasy stuff on Wednesday. Tomorrow, we'll get everything done. We'll get everything reset after an absolutely fantastic weekend. Cannot wait for the 2 games tonight. And that's going to be it for a Monday. We'll be back in 23 hours, 9 o'clock tomorrow. Thank you to everybody for watching. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Make it the best Monday that you can. I know we got a case of the Mondays. Don't worry. Don't worry. It'll get better. Tomorrow's Tuesday. But make it the best Monday that you can. I will talk to you guys tomorrow after we finish out week 2 in the NFL season. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe. I deeply appreciate it. And for Sports Talk with Hawk on this glorious Monday morning, I'm Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great day.